Let's start with our call to order and invocation. Commissioner White.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening to ask for your many graces. Please help us, be with us, and guide us as we discuss this business meeting tonight. Lord, be with those in the community who need your uplifting hand. Most of all, Lord, just be with us at any given time, and we call upon you. It's in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Gleason.
Here.
Commissioner Moss.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilkins.
Here.
Commissioner Kaczynski. Commissioner Way.
Here.
Mayor Downey.
Here.
Thank you.
All right. Approval of agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to remove the closed session from the agenda.
All right. There's been a motion for our closed session to be removed from the agenda. Is there any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Take your pen back.
5A, the excusal of Mayor Pro Tem Wilkins on May 5th.
Oh, that's on the agenda.
Oh. Oh, okay. Sorry. There.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to remove item number 5C from the consent agenda.
It's been a motion that the resolution declaring PW surplus vehicles be removed from the agenda.
And also 5D, sir.
And also 5D with the Duke Energy Interconnect Agreement. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to know why.
5C is the wrong vehicle.
I'm sorry, I'm going to just add, it was half wrong and half we corrected it, just so you know. About half of it was wrong.
The VIN number's wrong, yeah.
Yeah, Kevin just got it.
And 5D, I have questions.
So 5C, do we know if it's okay?
Commissioner, but we do have the right one. He just inverted the VIN with the year.
So we can leave it.
But the VIN number is wrong.
Yes, he has the wrong VIN
Yeah.
number, right?
I just wanted on the record that we know that the VIN number's
Yes.
wrong and we're changing it.
It's been corrected, ma'am.
So we're gonna leave 5C?
Yeah, we can
Leave
leave it, I
5C.
guess.
Okay.
Hope we find the right one.
We will.
And 5D, I have questions.
All right, is there any more discussion?
So you wanna move 5D to discussion?
Yeah.
So we're gonna move it, not remove it, we're gonna move it.
Move it to
Discussions.
move it to 11B.
11B. Anything further? So there's been a motion to move the Duke Energy Interconnection Agreement, Article 5D, to the discussion of 11B.
We did that, and I'll make a motion that we okay the consent agenda.
There's been a motion to okay this consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I also need a motion to approve the agenda with the changes.
All right.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
All right. It's been a motion that we approve the agenda with the changes. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. We have a Black History Month proclamation that I have signed. Yeah. I want to stand up. I want to stand up because in honor of Black history. It's been a proclamation celebrating the month of February as Black History. Whereas Black Americans have played significant roles in the history of economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development while working tirelessly to maintain and promote their culture and history. And whereas the theme for 2026, A Century of Black History, celebrates 100 years of formally recognizing Black history in the U.S. as established by Dr. Carter G. Wilson. And whereas through Dr. Wilson's efforts, Black history finds its way not simply into schools of the American nation, but also into cultural heritage sites, museums, archives, libraries, parks, etc., public squares, workplaces, houses of worship, and homes. These institutions offer sites to discover and learn more about African American history through programming, camps, book displays, and exhibitions. And whereas the observance of Black History Month calls our attention to the continued need to battle racism and build a society that lives up to the democratic ideals, and whereas the city of Creedmoor is committed to striving for racial equality, providing a free, just, and equal community for all its residents. And whereas the city of Creedmoor includes diversity and inclusion as one of the strategic initiatives and is proud to honor the history and contributions of Black Americans in our community throughout our state and our nation. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Mayor Antoine Downey, and the members of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Creedmoor do recognize and hereby proclaim February 2026 as Black History Month, and encourage all citizens to celebrate our diverse heritage and culture and continue our efforts to create a world that is more just, powerful, and prosperous for all. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Creedmoor, North Carolina, to be affixed on this 26th day of January.
You didn't have it, so it's the third day of February.
Affixed on the third day of February 2026. All right. It's a proud moment. Okay. All right. Swearing in, if Mr. Dylan Robinson could meet me down front. Thank you. Raise your right hand. I, Dylan Wayne Robinson, do solemnly and sincerely swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina, and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, and that I will endeavor to support,
that I will endeavor to support,
maintain,
maintain,
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
of the state,
of the state,
not inconsistent with
not inconsistent with
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
to the best of my knowledge
to the best of my knowledge
and ability,
and ability,
so help me God.
so help me God.
I, Dylan Wayne Robertson,
I, Dylan Wayne Robinson,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will be alert and vigilant
that I will be alert and vigilant
to enforce the criminal laws of this state,
to enforce the criminal laws of this state,
that I will not be influenced
that I will not be influenced
in any manner on account
in any matter on account
of personal bias or prejudice,
of personal bias or prejudice,
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
execute the duties of my office
execute the duties of my office
as a law enforcement officer
as a law enforcement officer
according to the best of my skills,
according to the best of my skills,
abilities,
ability,
and judgment.
and judgment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Welcome aboard, Officer Robinson. Glad to have you.
Yes, sir.
All right. And we just had, Mayor Jordan walk into our meeting. Mayor Jordan brings greeting from Butler. Thank you. All right. Now, the recognition of CPL SRO Officer, Officer Tony Wallace.
Good evening, Mayor Downey, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the board. I stand before you tonight again to recognize a member of our department who recently earned a very distinguished award. The FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development Association, also known as FBI LEADA, evolved from an annual seminar that began in 1981, which provided leadership to mid-sized law enforcement agencies. In the early years of this organization, training was held in Quantico, Virginia. It has now evolved to provide leadership training through regional and national programs. FBI LEADA uses the teach COPS model, which allows instructors to draw on their personal experience and professional knowledge to foster development among participants. To receive the FBI LEADA Trilogy Award, candidates must complete Supervised Leadership Institute, Command Leadership Institute, and the Executive Leader Institute. Supervised leadership is developed for first-line supervisors and middle managers to enhance leadership competency. Command leadership is designated or designed to prepare law enforcement leaders for command-level positions, while executive-level leadership focuses on emerging challenges in public safety and preparing participants for executive-level positions. At this time, I'll ask Corporal Tony Wallace to join me. On March 17th, 2026, Corporal Wallace will celebrate his 9-year anniversary at the Creedmoor Police Department. Wallace currently serves as one of the 2 SROs at South Force Free Resource Office at South Carolina High School. In addition to serving as SRO, Tony has mentored, or is a mentor to our younger officers. Please join me in congratulating Corporal Tony Wallace on earning this trilogy award.
Congratulations, Officer Wallace.
Thank you, Mayor.
Y'all don't want to stay? I'm playing, y'all. Comment, okay.
Yeah, we didn't get to it.
All right, 6D, FY 25 audit report. Finance Director.
Mayor and Board, tonight we have the audit presentation for fiscal year 25. As you all know, back in 2024, you all adopted the agreement with Sharp Patel for 3 fiscal years, so this is the second fiscal year on that agreement. Tonight I have Jay Sharp from Sharp Patel that's going to give you all our financial evaluation for FY 25.
Good evening. Thanks for having me out tonight. I guess everybody didn't want to hear the officer.
I'm here to present the 2025 audit of the city. It's not a short presentation, and I'll be back to any questions you have. So we'll go ahead and get started with the status of everything. Field work has been completed, the financial statements have been prepared, and the audit was submitted to the local government commission on time, and has been approved, and the audit has been issued for 2025. Just a little background on what we do as auditors. We don't just start crunching numbers from the get-go. We do some planning procedures. Most of those involve internal controls. Getting an update of any internal control changes. We made test controls over certain areas. For 2025, we tested controls over cash disbursement and over payroll. And we do all this because we have what we call a risk-based audit approach. So we're assessing risk to all the major reporting areas of the city. For example, cash, revenues, expenses. And the roadmap, the risk-based audit approach gives us a roadmap on how we're going to conduct our audit on an annual basis. We don't do the exact same thing every year. Depending on what the risk assessment says, we may change our procedures. And we do all of that because as auditors, we have to obtain what we consider to be sufficient audit evidence to render an opinion on financial statements. That's why our high risk is to give an opinion, and that opinion concentrates on whether the financial statements are free from material misstatements. So just a little background on what we do as auditors. So the results for 2025 audit, I think you'll be happy with it. As I said, scope and timing on audit, we're on track. The audit was issued and submitted to the local government commission on time. No issues there. The audit opinion, the reason you hire. Once again, the city received an unmodified opinion on the financial statements. That's a clean audit opinion, the best opinion you can possibly receive, and obviously the opinion the city should strive for year in and year out. I talked about internal controls. So if we know any issues during our audit procedures, we're required to report those as findings. I'm happy to report there were no findings for 2025. Also, when we submit the audit to the local government commission, we have to put the numbers into the website, and it kicks back the formulas, and it lets us know if there's any financial performance indicators. There were no financial performance indicators for 2025. So all good news there for the city. The last thing I want to talk about is audit adjustments. So we had several minor audit adjustments related to accruals and pension adjustments. Nothing major and nothing unusual for 2025. So just kind of summarize, clean audit opinion, no findings, and no financial performance indicators for 2025. In addition to the audit, we're required to issue a separate letter addressed to the council. There's four main talking points to this letter. The first one is if any major accounting policy changes that affect notes to financial statements. We're required to let you know about those. There was a new rule adopted for 2025. All governments had to do this. With GASB 101, compensated absences. So in previous years, you would accrue for all your unused vacation time for all your employees. The rule changed to add sick time to that. So that was done for 2025. That was the only major change to the policies for the city. One area to pay close attention to during the audit process are any numbers derived from management's estimates. You have two key estimates: the depreciable lives of your capital assets and your allowance for doubtful accounts. We looked at those; those appeared reasonable, no issues there. Happy to report no disagreements with management and no difficulties encountered during the audit procedures. We had complete cooperation from Liddy and everybody at the city during the audit procedures, and we appreciate that cooperation. Finally, I want to talk about the numbers for 2025. We'll start out with the general fund. First of all, looking at the revenues and expenditures for the general fund for 2025, and this is kind of a trend analysis of the city. One thing you can see is revenues have increased throughout the years going back to 2020. Also, the expenditures for the city has increased as the city has grown. For 2025, revenues were just below $6.3 million. Your expenditures were just below $6.9 million. So you can see the growth there. And we'll talk about this in a little more detail in a second. One of the more important things to look at when we look at the financial health of a city or town is the fund balance. So your fund balance represents your net worth at a given point in time. This trend shows that there's a very healthy fund balance for the city, and it's been going up. Back in 2019, your fund balance was about $8.8 million. At the end of 2025, almost $11.5 million in fund balance. So you've seen a nice growth in your fund balance over the last several years. And it did go up in 2025. Last year was about $11.2 million. So still a small growth in the fund balance, but you did see a growth. That indicates a healthy financial position for the city. What makes up that fund balance is also very critical to the city's operation. There's several key categories here. The orange here is restricted for use by the power fund or street maintenance. That was about $853,000. And the purple is restricted for state statute. Those are basically monies that were due to the city at the end of the year. General statutes say you can't use money you haven't received yet. And you have some miscellaneous categories. But the most important category is the orange, not the orange, the green. The green is your unassigned fund balance. This is for use by the state. That total about $9.4 million. So one of the calculations we use to determine health of a fund balance is, we take that and divide it by your prior year expenditures. And we generally see this, if it's 8% or higher, it's generally considered healthy. Anywhere in the 30 to 40% range is really healthy. The city had a number of 141% at the end of 2025. So you had well over a year of unassigned fund balance. Indicates really strong financial position of the city. Probably one of the strongest financial positions of any town or city we audit. We do about 12 audits throughout the state of North Carolina. So you have a really healthy unassigned fund balance, really strong performance by the city over the last few years. Just to be kind of reiterated some short-term liquidity risk ratio, looking at your cash reserve. So what we're looking at here is your unrestricted cash versus your expenditures. We generally recommend in your towns and cities have anywhere to 3 to 6 months in reserve. You had 572 days at the end of 2025, so well over a year in cash reserves. Once again, healthy financial position for the city, no issues there. So let's talk about how the city recognized revenues and spent money during 2025. First of all, talk about your revenues. The two biggest categories, once again, are your property taxes. 43% of the revenues came from property taxes, and then 29%, which is the orange here, is about other taxes and licenses, things like sales tax, things like that. Very similar to last year, but those are your two main revenue line items for 2025. But if we look at a comparison of revenues from this year to last year, looking at any variances, and so you had a slight increase in your overall revenues, $6.1 million last year to $6.3 million. The two biggest changes, your property tax revenue went up about $400,000. Your restricted intergovernmental revenues decreased about $218,000. That was due to some grants that you received in 2024 that you did not receive in 2025. But overall, like I said, you had an increase in revenues of about $190,000 for the year. Looking at expenditures, once again, the number one expenditure line item for the city continues to be public safety at nearly 43%, followed by general government at 31%, and then transportation and general works at 17%. This falls in line to last year. So let's do a various analysis there, comparing individual categories. Overall, your expenditures did go up about $350,000 compared to last year. But every category is very similar to 2024. No major changes. But it's like public safety went up $150,000. Transportation and public works went up about $217,000. Finally, before I take any questions, let's talk about the stormwater fund. Obviously, a lot smaller than your general fund. We're looking at trend analysis here. Your stormwater fund did perform financially well in 2025. Revenues were about $560,000. Expenses were about $415,000. So you had a nice profit in the stormwater fund for the year. And looking at the cash reserves for this fund also, you have a very healthy cash reserve in place. 685 days, a nice increase compared to 426 days in the prior year. So, kind of summarize everything. Once again, clean audit opinion, no findings, everything indicates a very healthy financial position at the end of 2025. And with that, we've got some questions you have on the results of the audit procedures, and the numbers themselves.
Thank you, Mr. Sharp. Do you have any questions?
I've got a couple. Okay.
Go ahead, Commissioner Ross.
Thank you. So, thank you, sir, for your presentation. It's always good news to know we've got a clean audit, so we started out on a good note there. So, I was just taking my notes here, just wanted to kind of recap what you talked about, our fund balance is roughly 11.5 million. The unassigned balance is about 9 million, and I'm not giving the exact numbers, I just want to make sure I got it right. And overall, from a percentage standpoint, we're standing at 141%.
Yes, unassigned fund balance is 141% of your 2025 expenditures.
Gotcha. And let's see, I think we had some property, our growth in the revenues was attributed to the property tax?
That was the main factor, yes.
Gotcha. And our expenditures, well, public safety was the big one at 41%?
Yes, public safety, 43%.
43%, okay. That's why I like to review, because I knew I would get one wrong, so that's good. And then lastly, you mentioned the stormwater fund. How much is in the stormwater fund? I didn't capture that piece.
I don't have the exact number for it, but the actual cash reserves for the stormwater fund is about 685 days, so you almost have 2 years of cash reserves in place. So I don't have the exact cash reserves on hand, but a very healthy financial position at the end of the year.
Fair enough. It's not a big deal. I just checking my notes. Okay, 685 days. Got it. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kaczynski.
So, Lee, probably between the two of you, that unassigned fund balance doesn't include the $3 million for the police department building, right?
So, yeah, this was the FY 25.
Right, before we...
Next year, you will see the reflection of that $3 million, being taken from the general fund and assigned to the project fund.
Okay, okay, thanks.
Any more questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Sharp. All right. Madam Clerk, could anybody sign up to address the board?
No, we have, Rigsby. 7A. Yes, 7A, sorry.
All right, Mr. Frango.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. I just want to take a second to introduce Mr. Rigsby. He was the applicant back in PZ 2022-01. This was a conditional zoning decision that the board made to approve his site on Hillsborough Street. At the time, there was a large site plan review and approval. Sidewalk was part of that site plan review and approval, a required element of that plan. Initially, it was granted 2 years to complete it. Then I, in-house, granted an additional year, total of 3, and then this board granted the next extension, which was another full year with the condition of a 6-month update. So just due to scheduling, the 6 months isn't exactly lined up right, but Mr. Rigsby is here tonight to address the board regarding his extension.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Frangos.
Mr. Mayor, board members. We finally got issued, it was November the 12th, but we didn't receive it. So I followed up with Chad Abbott, the engineer, on our agreement with the state, which Mike has a copy of. I have a copy with me. So we're also looking at getting more estimates. Our last estimate started out verbally at about 12,000, 14,000. Finally got a written estimate from the guy, and it was 26,000. So we're trying to find other contractors to get this project moving. Any questions?
Any questions from the board?
So that's 26,000 just for the sidewalk?
That was 26,000 for the sidewalk and the,
Gate?
Yeah.
Access, yeah, ADA compliant.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So we're looking at getting more quotes.
I will touch base with you, sometime and see if there's a possible grant that you could apply for some of that money.
Okay.
I'll get in touch with you and we'll sit down and see if there's something we can do.
Okay.
All right?
Any more questions? All right. Thank you, Mr. Rigsby.
Thank you all very much. Do we need an extension or just another update?
The extension.
Extension.
Until
August.
You're good till
August, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to public comment. I would ask in public comment that when you come speak, state your name, your address, and Ms. Josephine Bailey. We also have a 3-minute limit. Okay.
Thank you so much for that. Today, I do apologize for my state of health. I was pleading all day. Yeah, congratulations on your election. I do apologize for not having been home when you came to visit me.
Hold on one second. State your name and your address. You all right, dog? Thank you, though.
My name is Joe Bailey. I live at 312 South Elm Street.
Yes, ma'am.
Right here. I've lived there since 2021. Proud to be a Creedmoor resident. Wonderful little home. Our first home, actually. Was so excited when we saw the house, and was in the middle of COVID, the bidding wars and all such. Actually was dumbfounded when it was the first house we bid on and we won. We beat out 8 other people. Couldn't believe it. But now we come to the crux of the matter. Stormwater runoff. We've paid our mortgage every month like clockwork. Actually more than paid off our mortgage, we pay extra. Pay our bills on time. A lot of little fees and things, including our stormwater fees. And what I thought was this lovely little creek running next to our home, battling little brook, isn't. It's in my front yard. And Helene got to see just how much runoff Creedmoor is sending to my front yard. It came within 2 feet of my younger son's bedroom, which is in the front corner of the house. I've tried everything since 2022 to see what we could do to rectify the situation. We've tried riprap. Had people come out. They bought coconut huts, rafting, landscaping, and finally we've had a gentleman come out and said he would lay pipe down to the tune of $10,000. I don't mind paying for that. However, when Helene came through and I saw the amount of water, I had video on my phone for that came through, I did a little more digging. Historical satellite imaging shows that was never supposed to be there. DOT, when they cut the ditch, or culvert, or whatever you want to call it, for that road back in 2000, when they built our homes, we are actually part of a subdivision. We are a model home. That they built ours in 2000, and then the ones behind us, 10 years later, they forgot about our home when they put in the piping back behind us, this great big pipe. Sometimes there's a bobcat that lives there, but I digress. Anyway, the Mother Nature has taken her will and cut a ditch herself. We've asked everybody, state legislator, the city of Creedmoor, we need help. It's for not only my front yard, but for the United States veteran that lives in my home. my older son, who is visually impaired and has fallen in that ditch. He not only served his country, but he gave up his vision to serve and keep in the Ukraine to help them with the Russian oppressor. I'm not asking you to pay for anything, but help me find a solution better than riffraff.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Bailey. Thank you. All right. Moving on to old business.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, before we move on, and I'm sorry, ma'am, I was listening and not typing. If I could get her name. Ms. Bailey, I'm so sorry. I wasn't listening closely enough. The reason I'm asking for that information, Commissioner Kaczynski and I have a NCDOT meeting coming up. I forget the exact date. So maybe that's something, it's coming up, yeah. You're real quick. So maybe that's something that we could look at putting on our list of discussion items? Gotcha.
Awesome.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that.
Sorry to interrupt.
I didn't know how to answer that, but my commissioner answered it, so.
He already knows about, and he's had several emails and phone calls. They probably will remember my name.
Okay. Thank you.
On the sidewalk property line, not in the street level. Not on the east property. That's what we're running into the past of getting a list of people looking for services to what have you.
Cool.
And I'm like, why should I be doing this?
Well, they're gonna look into it at the DOT meeting, so, all right, thank you.
But I know they're also building 4 new homes right next to it.
Okay.
So there's additional runoff there.
We will, thank you. All right. All right, old business, resolution 2026-R02, declaring Lake Rogers North property surplus. Mr. Frangos?
Good evening again. So tonight's item is another, from a previous agenda. We had originally, talked about this topic back in December, and it was, tabled and pushed out regarding what we call affectionately the Lake Rogers North properties. You might recall the resolution is necessary, initially as the first step in the process, where we would declare, the subject parcels surplus, to the city of Creedmoor in order to ultimately transfer ownership to the Tar River Land Conservancy, which is a private nonprofit entity, by a negotiated sale. So we are trying to follow general statutes through this process in order to hopefully allow the Tar River Conservancy to properly steward the properties in question. Derek Calvert is here. He did include for you a very comprehensive presentation in your packet, so I would like to give him an opportunity to go through that presentation quickly and familiarize yourself with those. We also had some small group meetings, hopefully on this topic that we answered a lot of the questions, but I do want Derek to have a chance to go through it again.
You need some? Ms. Howard, Commissioner Wade.
Hey, Commissioner. Sir? Yes, sir. In an effort to reduce your time and our time.
Yes, sir.
We're very familiar with your presentation details. We're very familiar of the work that you've done. And when I tabled the motion for the new board members the last time, was for them to be able to have a chance to get familiar with any information that they may have questions to. I'm fine with going to making the motion tonight to move forward. It's totally up to you if you feel like you want to go through your presentation, but I believe that.
I defer to you all. I'm here at your,
I think that you have been in front of us and gave us no doubts of what you guys do on a daily basis to support this community and given us the nature trails that we so enjoy and the information that we now have based on this property, it's probably better for us to make the decisions that we need to.
I will forego my presentation and will answer any questions.
But that's up to my fellow board members.
I'm with you.
Does anybody disagree on that?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2026-R-02, declaring the Lake Rogers North properties as surplus to the needs of the city of Creedmoor.
All right, there's been a motion to adopt the resolution 2026-02, declaring the Lake Rogers North property as surplus to the needs of the city of Creedmoor. Is there any discussion?
Mike, does that take care of the declaring a surplus too?
This is declaring the surplus.
Okay, just want to make sure. Okay.
Commissioner Kozinski.
So, I didn't realize that our attorney wasn't gonna be here, and I just wanna bring this out since he's not here. Page 137, I had asked Mr. Hallberg about this, without reading this agreement, but item number 6, boundary surveys, there's a line in here that says Creedmoor agrees to address any boundary encroachments identified by the surveyor prior to closing. My concern is that somebody has been using this property and they are going to require us to pay them to take it back. And I was hoping that our attorney was going to be here so that I could ask him. I'm just concerned about, that's my only concern is people have expanded their properties into this because there were no trespassing signs. And that part of this whole agreement is the only thing I'm concerned about.
Mike, can you shine light on that? I'm sorry.
Yeah. Mike, before you speak, that's not my understanding, Commissioner. My understanding, and this came out in my group meeting, that Tar River Land Conservancy is going to do a survey. They've done some preliminary work.
Right.
We know that there are encroachments already.
Right.
They'll be on their property.
Right.
But I didn't understand that would impact the city of Creedmoor once we do this.
And and when I had my meeting, that's exactly what I understood too, but then I saw the sentence in here, and it says Creedmoor agrees to address any boundary encroachments. And I didn't think that was gonna be something we had to get involved in. I thought Tar River would get involved in. So, if everybody's okay going ahead with that, go ahead.
The intention was to jointly pursue possible encroachments, because this is gonna happen during the due diligence period before the property would actually be transferred. So Derek and I were gonna work together to send letters to homeowners who potentially could be encroaching and gain voluntary compliance. That's our goal. Is try to gain voluntary compliance just by informing the property owner that, hey, your fence or your structure just is over the line, and we imagine they'll simply, move it.
Well, it isn't 20 years, so they don't have squatters' rights, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just concerned about somebody coming back at us and
Good point.
wanting to pay us,
Good point.
wanting
Good point.
Creedmoor to have to pay for it, and I just wanted to get that straight with our attorney. It's in here, Mike, it can happen.
Right, and the term, it was actually a term that Derek and I discussed when we reviewed the land transfer agreement. I was the one who asked for the word address, rather than Creedmoor would solve, or I can't remember the original wording, but it was kind of like we were going to take care of it. And I was like, well, how about we work on it together? And that's the goal. There is no intention, we would never pay an encroacher on our property. And there is no opportunity to subdivide or to sell a portion of the property to that person because it's unsubdividable by the existing covenants that are in place right now.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's just a matter of identifying the encroachments and getting those folks to move their stuff off. I don't think it will be a problem. We don't see anything that's movable. We don't see a building foundation. We don't see anything that is simply immovable. There's a lot of just stuff that can be relocated.
In the monitoring report that I think Mike sent to you all prior to the last meeting, the pictures and everything as an example of what we have done every year since the land was transferred back in 2006. It did show specifically a new rack, the frequent news that one neighbor had. We found where we believe that the two irons are. Carl Barclay, your staff, was with me, and my staff member. We can't say for certain that those are the legitimate property corners of the city's property until we have a licensed surveyor, a professional land surveyor, confirm it. The neighboring landowner can't claim, it's on their land or otherwise until they have an opinion from a professional land surveyor. The good news is, in that instance, our monitor report from the previous year shows in that same location, the canoe rack wasn't there. It's been there for a very short period of time. And as far as we know, there's never been a direct conversation with those landowners. We own 7,000 acres of land as an organization spread around 7 counties. It's unfortunate that these things happen. But it's a matter of conversation, sitting on letters ahead of time, and being able to communicate with them. But yet, for us to be able to take the property back as the owners, we have to make sure that we don't brush under the rug any discrepancies and issues. And if they come, alive as part of the survey, which we, will be paying for, we certainly want to have Mr. Warnick involved in anything if the landowners are someone disputing it. But that's why we hired the professionals, the licensed surveyors from the state to be able to go out and confirm for all of us, what is and isn't there. Other things are movable objects like hunting sand, debris piles, which I think is just a matter of folks not being aware where the line is or thinking that others may not step the line. So I hear you loud and clear, and Mike, we did decide that language specifically.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor of the motion to adopt resolution 2026R-2 declaring Lake Rogers North property as a surplus to the needs of the city of Creedmoor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
So now, sort of as a follow-up, the next item relates specifically to the land transfer agreement. And this is one of the terms that Commissioner Kaczynski was reading from. It's part of the due diligence that Tar River will now undertake prior to the actual transfer of the land, which we don't expect to close for several months into the future. So the next step is the land transfer agreement, which documents and specifies all the details between the two properties. And this is where Tar River is going to be helping us out with funding requests to both the North Carolina Land and Water Fund, as well as the Upper Neuse Clean Water Initiative. This will be that money brought in to execute the budget that was identified in the agreement also. So y'all have those items in your agenda package. So this is the next step. I will call your attention just to one item. Barbara, I don't know if you have it, but if you could scroll through to where it starts saying draft on the water there. So these are the proposed covenants. That draft, it's not a mistake, that is actually the draft covenants that will be applied to the property upon closing. So I just wanted to make everybody clear and understand this is just an advanced copy. It will not be signed off today. It will be something that'll happen later. But it is part of the agreement. The new covenants will go into place upon closing. So with that, my recommendation is motion to approve the land transfer agreement regarding the Lake Rogers North tracts.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Wilkins. All right, it's been a motion that we approve the land transfer agreement with the Tar River Land Conservatory regarding the Lake Rogers tracts and the North tracts. All right, any discussion? Commissioner Kaczynski.
So, Mike, in this agenda item, it talks about the city of Creedmoor will give $5,000 for the matching grant. Those funds are in your budget already?
Right now, this year, yes.
Okay, so just...
There is no need for a new budget amendment at this time, no.
Because originally we had talked about we were going to pay for the survey, but that's all different now.
Correct.
Okay, all right, thanks.
Any more discussion? All right, it's been a motion to approve the land transfer agreement with the Tar River Land Conservancy regarding Lake Rogers North tracts. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Ms. Franco. Thank you too, Mr. Halbert. All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we have an update on Dogwood and Whitehall drainage study. Mr. Carl Barclay.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. I'm Carl Barkley, your city engineer. And tonight, I'm here to talk about the Dogwood Drive and the Whitehall Drive drainage area study. And the purpose is to give you an update and figure out how to use this thing. And then request the board approval to proceed with task order 1, phase 2. So just a brief background, there have been numerous stormwater complaints from Dogwood Drive residents, numerous complaints from Whitehall Drive residents. I've been out there with our public works director, and we noticed quite a few things that need attention. And the best way to approach this is a holistic approach. Evaluate the entire drainage area before you take the first bit of action. Otherwise, you end up making the problem worse if you start doing the Band-Aid approach. So we have several engineering firms that are on call. Weatherall Engineering was assigned this project. And task order phase 1, essentially they gathered data, they evaluated the existing drainage system, they identified deficiencies, maybe it's undersized, maybe it's the wrong location, maybe it's degraded, and then they provided potential improvements to that area. Our stormwater committee took those potential improvements, and we added the additional layer that applies to Creedmoor. Engineering firm, they look at probability of rainfall and topography. We put on the layers of, the biggest one is property. Some of this is on private property, some is on city-owned right-of-way, some is on easement, permanent drainage easement owned by the HOA, and then, of course, complicated by the former railroad right-of-way. Some parcels have reclaimed the abandoned right-of-way, some have not reclaimed it yet. We responded to Weatherall, sort of revising what they proposed, and now we're recommending that we proceed with the complete design for improvements that both of us agree on, the city and engineering firm. So what do those consist of? I'm sure it's hard to see this, but on the right-hand side, off to the right of that sketch is where Main Street is. Going from right to left, in the middle is Dogwood Drive, and then at the bottom is Whitehall Drive. You can't really read what's in the yellow box, but anything that's in yellow was something that was considered, but then not pursued in the end. We had a better idea. So recommendation number 1 is the green one all the way to the left. That's in the former railroad right-of-way. For decades, water would travel down that right-of-way, nice ditch. Well, over time, it got overgrown. The ditches breached in several areas. So water would come out and spill out and go to the right and affect the parcels in Dogwood Drive and Whitehall. So recommendation for the green line is to construct a proper ditch, clear enough of the trees to have a ditch, stone line, and keep the water over there that's supposed to be over there. Recommendation number 2 is sort of the turquoise blue right there in the middle. Currently, there's a cross pipe where you see a red line in the middle, it crosses down and it has yellow X's on it. That cross pipe is going to be abandoned. Instead, it will cross where you see the turquoise blue line. And then the purple is recommendation number 3. That replaces an undersized drainage system. The 18-inch pipe will go up to 30, and the box will be enlarged also. I think the interesting part is the orange line, which goes from Dogwood down to Whitehall. That's recommendation number 4. There's a parcel there that UGIS is called 2nd Street Right-of-Way, a paper street. Decades ago, I guess somebody thought there would be a road in there. So the city owned a 40-foot width property between the two parcels on Dogwood Drive, and it lines up with the permanent drainage easement that's owned by the HOA in Whitehall. So currently, there is some drainage that goes down there, but both of those areas have been neglected and overgrown, so water doesn't travel as well as it should. So recommendation number 4 is to, again, construct a proper ditch, fabric line, stone in it, and by putting additional drainage down that path, obviously, that needs to be addressed. So the red line at the bottom is a new cross pipe on Whitehall Drive. That does a couple of things. One of the main complaints is the ditch on Whitehall, it doesn't drain. It's too flat, water stacks up there, it stays wet for days after a storm. The Originally, Weatherall was proposing upsize the driveway pipes. To the right, you see the little red lines, the yellow X on it. But those aren't, we don't have to do that now by adding that additional cross pipe. It'll help drain the ditch, which, you know, currently has water standing in it, and then the additional water coming down from Dogwood will go straight over to the pond in Whitehall. And number 5 is the blue on the left side, and that starts at the top of the existing ditch at the very end of Dogwood Drive, and it was consistent with constructing, extending that ditch down, and then making a turn, and then follow a property line back to Whitehall. There's a utility easement along that property line, so this would be right next to the utility easement. Again, water is coming from the last couple of houses on Dogwood. It's sort of spilling over in a haphazard manner, so this would confine it to a clear path to bring it down to the roadway ditch where it would follow around to the existing cross pipe. So those are the 5 improvements that make sense for this area. At first, we were thinking we'd do it, piecemeal, do this one first and then this one, and after looking at it, it all sort of seems to be related, and, there's the economy of scale. If you do it at once, with the design, the construction, it's better in the long run to do it as a consolidated package. So, task order number 2 is the complete proposal is in your agenda material. Of course, it's very long. It's just a way top summary for you. It includes surveys. We need to know where the property lines are, because there are going to be some easements where the blue and the green lines are easements. And of course, the topography. That's essential when you're doing a drainage design, because you're trying to use the surface flow to get water out of there. Subsurface utility identification. Weatherall doesn't want to do a design that can't be built, or that creates another conflict with underground utilities. So they want to make sure they know where the utilities are. And then a complete design for those 5 improvements. We want to see the horizontal footprint, the vertical profile, what it's going to look like. Because when you go to a property owner to acquire an easement, they're going to want to know, what are you putting in that easement? I'm going to have to look at it every day. It's not a complete set of plans, it's a complete design for those 5 improvements. Phase 3, sometime in the future, that will include the complete plan set. Traffic control plans, road control plans, title sheets, all the bid documents, permitting, easement, exhibits, and acquisition, those things. So, this proposal for phase 2, surveys and utilities, location 46,000, design development 33. That's probably caused a double take. Surveys and utilities location is more than design development. They want to ensure that their design solves the problem effectively, and that it doesn't create other problems when they get out of it. Some of you may remember DOT's project in front of the fire department. They're laying the pipe across the road, and all of a sudden, we knew there was a gas line here, but nobody investigated the elevation of the gas line. They had to take the pipe out and redo it. Right now, a contractor on the police department, they had a little issue with Frontier cutback. So we're trying to resolve that during construction. So I like the approach Weatherall is taking. They want to know where everything is before they get out, before they do the design, and unfortunately, it's a very labor-intensive process, especially with the utility locating. You call it 811 before you dig and come out there to mark stuff. If you submit a design ticket saying, I want your information because I'm designing something, the utility company's supposed to send their system back to see that it's not quite as a reliable system for a design ticket, nor as accurate. So Weatherall has to go out there with their own equipment, ground penetrating radar, some other, high-tech devices, and try and physically locate where the items are so they can design around them. And if it's a critical location, they have to actually pothole to get the actual elevation on it. So that's why you see the numbers that are up there. So the phase 2 total, $80,381, and when we get to item 10B tonight, you get to vote on that with the amendment, budget amendment 4. But at this point, are there any questions for me regarding what this proposal is?
Thanks, Mr. Carl. Commissioner Gleason?
Carl or Mike, would this come out of stormwater funds?
Yes, sir.
Any more questions? Commissioner Kuczynski?
So, Carl, since that's right behind my house, and I'm the one that complained about all the flooding, recommendation number 5 And recommendation number 2, there's a gap between the turquoise line and the blue line, the navy blue line. And my property is right where those yellow X's are, and my neighbors, where we've had the flooding, right through there. So the lines are gonna bypass me and go all the way down the street, and that's what I read in the paragraph, and that's what it looks like. I just wanna make sure that there's gonna be a continuity with the pipe, so that the turquoise line doesn't stop, and then the blue one picks up down the street a little further.
No,
They're gonna be
that's
connected.
the high point.
Okay,
That's a high point, so it'll go from, where there is no line,
yeah,
it'll drain to the left side of that sheet into the dark blue and go around one way, or it'll travel to the east and the turquoise line and then cross over. So basically, instead of working on private property so much, we're sort of keeping it around the two. There will be an easement for the dark blue is coming down between the two properties.
yeah.
But the original proposal where that ditch goes across 301 Dogwood, a little bit of 305, and then I think 308, that just did not seem like a good design from the beginning, and that's why having it come down to Second Street right away,
Yeah.
the existing drainage easement made more sense.
Well, I thank you for these people, because I've been out there with them, and they seem very thorough. I had no idea there were railroad tracks back there. I have learned a lot of history with these guys.
Yeah, the tracks aren't there anymore. When you walk out, there's some place that's clear. There was the rail bed, there's the ditch on either side, and other places it's just all eaten up, meandered, and it's just, you see where the water's spilled out into the neighborhood.
Well, I know this has been a long process for you, and I thank you for staying with it.
Any more questions?
Ready to make a motion.
All right.
Then moving right along to the next topic.
Make a motion for that? I need to make a motion.
That would be the amendment.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve task order 1, phase 2, in the amount of $80,381.
That comes with the budget amendment, I believe. MD.
Doesn't this have to be done first? No, the budget amendment has to be done first.
Budget amendment.
Second supposed to approve the funds first.
That's the order it's in here.
You all know, it's in the agenda, if you had the issues with it now, you'll discuss that now.
There's no issue. She can go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You can go ahead and make a motion. Yeah.
So I'd like to make a motion to approve phase 1, is it phase 1, number 2?
Task order 1, phase 2.
Task order 1, phase 2 of, for $80,300 and, I lost my page.
$81.
Thank you.
$80,381.
Do I need to do a not to exceed? Does anybody want me to do a not to exceed in that, or just leave it the way it is?
Leave it the way it is.
All right. In the amount of $80,381.
All right. It's been a motion to approve task order 1, phase 2, in the amount of $80,381. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. You can go ahead, Mr. Call.
To the next one, Main Street. So this next topic is the update of the Main Street public parking easement. So this is to give the board an update on this project and request approval to proceed with advertising for construction. Brief background, it was noted as insufficient public parking downtown, and there's gonna be even, well, there is less now that we've gotten rid of the public parking back there for a building for someone. Also, no ADA accessible parking on the east side of Main Street. The only ADA parking is on this side. And there's been an ongoing issue with standing water, or times like this, standing ice on the sidewalk in front of several businesses over on Main Street. There's lots of complaints from business owners and from the citizens who slip and slide on that. So last year, this board signed an easement agreement with the two property owners that split that gravel parking lot, about a 40-60 split. So in exchange for improvements, it can be used by the public. That's sort of the the background on that. The design summary, the complete design is in your agenda material, so just a quick overview. It'll provide 13 parking stalls total. 2 of those are ADA compliant, 1 of those being van accessible. There'll be a trench drain in the sidewalk to provide drainage. Has a grate on it that's pedestrian friendly, so nobody will get their high heels stuck in it. And just briefly what the parking lot looks like, we see Main Street is on the left side, Chief Street's on the right side, so it's one-way through by having angled parking and guarantees, should guarantee, one-way traffic, and also it allows parking on both sides by having it angled. The dark circle, top left corner, bottom right corner, those will be new light poles with light fixtures for security, the landscaping, there'll be signs to the public parking, enter here, do not enter there, payment markings to be it'll be clear, and it'll be built to the same standards that we require of businesses that are building parking lots. So we're not doing anything extra, we're not doing anything less, we're following our own rules. So, I asked Arcane Pay to give us, because engineer's estimate of what they anticipated this would cost us. The itemized estimate is in your agenda material, and the total construction cost they estimate $104,000. I took out the 10% contingency that, the recommendation price over the fact, that's why the action on this is that close to $104,000. So, does the board have any questions for me about this project? And if not, I'd like to request permission to tell Arcane Gate to proceed with the next step of finalizing, and we'll advertise it.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilkins.
I'd like to make a motion to approve advertising the project for construction.
It's been a motion to approve this site for construction. Any discussion?
I want to thank you, Carl. I have waited 6 years for this. And I'm so grateful that we're finally going to provide some parking for the handicapped people on Main Street on that side of the street, and it's taken this long. The price came in amazingly lower than I thought it would be. Of course, it's not final until we have a contractor. And I probably shouldn't have said that out loud.
Yeah.
But, thank you for your hard work on this. I know it wasn't easy. It was a lot of waiting, but, I appreciate it very much, and I can't wait. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem for making the motion.
Commissioner Gleason.
Thank you, Carl. Do we need a budget amendment for this?
Not yet, sir. When the bids come in, I'll be back in front of the board saying, here's the bid, shall proceed.
Any more questions? All right, it's been a motion to approve the advertising project for construction. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Barclay. All right. Water quality draft statement. Chief. Chief Willis. Interim City Manager.
Take my hat and I think before you is the water quality statement that the city attorney prepared. I was hoping that he would, or the draft statement, sorry, that he prepared. I hope he was going to be here tonight, but he's not. So I think he and city manager Turner were working on the draft that you guys have in your.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Ross.
I was going to suggest, I didn't realize Kevin was not going to be here tonight either, because I think I had originally requested that this be on the agenda for our board retreat for more discussion. So as far as I'm concerned, hopefully the board will agree, we can defer this until Saturday.
For the strategic planning meeting?
There you go.
Any discussion on that? All right, it's been a motion that we table this to the retreat this weekend. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, easy enough. Thank you, Chief. You up next? All right. Update on Police Department.
Mr. Interim City Manager, Chief, I don't know how many more titles you have, sir.
That's enough for now.
I just wanted you to inform the board on where we are. I know that the police department's gone through a lot of changes in this year. 4 police officers, a dog, and, we've lost a telecommunicator and can you bring us up to date on where we are with the police officers you need?
Yeah, so the board approved to get 4 additional, police officers in this year's budget. Along with 4 new police vehicles. We currently have 2 police officers with the DOT, and we have filled one of the other positions, so that leaves me with 1 vacant position. Which hopefully I'm trying to fill that within, as soon as possible.
Awesome.
We're progressing, but, we couldn't really advertise position until we got our new vehicles in, because we have some.
And I know that the vehicles used to take a longer time to get in.
Yeah, this year we switched upfitters, and we got them a lot sooner than I thought we would get them. Usually when we order vehicles, July 1st, when the budget is approved and goes into effect, we usually don't get them back until about this time. We did switch upfitters, and we actually got them back in, months earlier than we normally would. To speak on the dog, and they mentioned that, again, that was.
Call his name.
His name is Olaf. So, we had a group, we thought we had a year earlier, that fell through. We had already purchased the dog, and then, the vendor in which we got the dog from, he had some health issues. He was very familiar with one of our officers, Tony Wallace, who you saw earlier. Tony had dogs before and trained with them. He felt very comfortable allowing Tony to have the dog while he was recovering from his surgery and doing his rehab. So Tony had the dog. Now he's been assigned to Officer Johnny Evans. They have maybe 1 or 2 weeks left of training, and then he'll be out on the road. But I can tell you, even last night, with Lux, our dog from last year, last night he assisted Butler with a jumping run they had, and he did a track on the suspect for over a mile. And so our dogs are, I think, a wonderful investment for our city. So that's absolutely amazing for a dog to be able to track.
Wow.
Is Officer Cash able to keep up?
His best.
I heard a lot of huffing and puffing on the radio. That's why I asked.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chief. / interim city manager. All right.
Slash anything.
All right, moving right on, new business, Little Architect Design Amendment number 5, additional services, Mr. Frangos. Welcome back.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mike and Carl Show.
Yeah, Mike and Carl.
Host.
Yeah.
Okay, so tonight's item is a long time coming. I want to start off with, the fact that Little Architecture has been our architect on the police department from the beginning. This is actually our second agreement with Little. You all might recall we started back in 2022. False start and came back around to this second version of our police department design. This is a design amendment to the second agreement between Little and the city of Creedmoor. And this is for additional services. I know you see there is a number at the bottom of the letter. Will Stewart is here from Little to help us answer any questions, but I think he did a really good job of explaining in the letter exactly why these improvements, this amendment was necessary. There were significant changes. Those of you that were on the board at the time remember that we tried at the second iteration to make this a building addition. There was a try to get it as a wing of the police department to be added onto the existing building. And that's how we went into the second round of this design phase. Unfortunately, that design phase didn't work out because the numbers kept skyrocketing regarding earthwork and the need for fill and the challenges of the topography of the site. And that's really when we got the advice of the design team to tell us, the best way to really pull this off is to pull a second building. A lot like the first attempt went off in a second building, so we would minimize the earthwork that was needed between the two. So with that change is a major course correction for the design team. You know, I only see Will and a couple of other folks that come to Creedmoor, but they've got an army of designers back in their office working on these things behind the scenes. And when we turn our battleship at late date, that's what causes, unfortunately, these increases, changes from the original agreement. So there is an amount that's included in the little scope of services, and there is an increase in fees, $93,592. This is an unbudgeted amount. This is over and above the existing agreement that we had. This is subject of your later budget amendment, which we just previewed earlier. But I feel this is just. And I say that because I know that Will and I went back and forth for many months over the details of this amendment. It wasn't just going to be something that I was going to turn around and say, sure, you know, Creedmoor's got more money, look at our audit, we could just load it up. No, that wasn't the way out. I told Will, you're going to have to defend these details of why. And I really do believe that's why you got such a good letter that explains exactly the changes that had to happen between the second design and where we are today. Now, I wanted to be able to point out the window and say, look at this great work that's done, look at this building coming out of the ground, and look at the skeleton and the framing. Unfortunately, we're not quite there yet, but we do have MLB on site, so it won't be long now. But the timing is right for this amendment. With these changes, our relationship with Little will remain intact. You know, they're still on board for us the whole project through. It'll take us all the way through the certificate of occupancy and ultimate occupancy of the renovation, you know, of this building also. So, it's a necessary change. It's something that happens as part of big designs like this. And, I think it's very well justified. So my recommendation, of course, is to approve, the amendment as submitted. If there are questions, I'm sure we'll be glad to answer, or I can try to help.
Commissioner Gleason?
It's a little taken aback when I started reading it. I said an increase in cost of $2 million. This we already went through. We are already budgeted for that cost of the building. So this is just a fee from the architect.
Correct. This has not been included in any of our financing up till these.
So we will need a budget amendment.
Yeah, so this is included in the budget amendment that you have on this.
And these will be general fund dollars. These are not, loan dollars or anything like that, any other money that's been set aside.
And can I just put you on the topic, and I know a lot of stuff kind of drives me to come up here. Yeah, that's why I asked. Well, on the topic of, I am all kinds of facilities, budget amendment. In the borrowing that we had, there was a reimbursement clause, for us to reimburse ourselves for the architect fees that we have paid to date. So I want you to go into this, if you're looking at this 3 times 3,000. We have funds that we have to reimburse ourselves for Little. So if the city has the option, if they want to use this money that we already have from the borrowing to pay for these additional fees.
Okay.
Then they can be done.
Okay.
Those funds still be moved from, it's budgeted in the ordinance to move from the capital project fund to the general fund. But then those funds.
Come out the general fund.
General fund to the, the architect fees are placed in another budget, so we move to that line to pay for the architect fees. I just want to put those in your thought, go back into what we went to borrow the 2.75.
This would be an additional $93,000 out of general fund. This would be.
It doesn't have to.
We don't want it to be.
Yes.
I just wanted to ease your mind a little bit.
We're coming out of the ball.
That's good.
So we can be financed.
Commissioner,
We paid Little little bit less to pay for the additional fees if you get what we want with that.
Good. All right.
Yeah, I know it's kind of.
Commissioner Kozinski.
So, where are we reimbursing ourselves from? Keep saying we reimbursed ourselves. I'm not understanding. Did money fall out of the sky?
So, we borrowed $2.7 million.
Yes.
And that $2.7 million, we broke it up into a budget.
Uh-huh.
The total project was for $5.7 million.
Right.
$3 million used general fund dollars, in the 2007 department.
Right.
So within that whole scope of the project, the $5.7 million, it's broken up into different line items.
Right.
The contract line for MSD was 4.9. We have furniture, fixtures, and equipment line. We have cost of insurance, which was the legal fees that we had to pay. We have a contingency line, and we have a reimbursement line.
Okay.
To reimburse the general fund for the fees that we have paid for the architect.
Okay.
So that's the reimbursement cost that was put into our water.
Okay. So, in the first round of this police department then, we gave a little $330,000 for their work. And then our finance director said we couldn't afford the job. So we came back, I personally went back through all the design after I walked through the police department and saw how cramped their space was, and found design C, which was to add a wing to this building. That design was provided to us by Little. They gave us that option. You could do it this way, this way, this way, and this was another one. Can you do it? Yep, we can do it. Well, here we are. We can't do it. We need to build another building. And we approved the financing for the Little architect firm on 8/5/2025, did a budget amendment on September of 2024. Commissioner Wilkins agreed to it, and he was on the board at the time, for $405,000. And so when you add the $405,000 to the $330,000 we've already paid, and Mike, you talked about topography work, evaluation and stuff, that was done on the first round. That didn't need to be done again. There was work that was done, geological studies and everything in the first round. So a lot of the stuff did not need to be repeated, because the first round was, we're going to build that building over there anyway. So the wing option was not there. I know that changes were made, but this is a year later, and more than a year later. It was fiscal year 2025, so we'll go with a year. And now it's coming up with this, after we've paid over $700,000. And I don't care where the $93,000 is coming from. I really don't. But I believe we've paid enough money to this architecture firm, and I'm not willing to give another $93,000. When you give me an option for a design and say, yes, we can do it, you gave me the option. You gave it to us. We didn't ask for it. You guys did. And said, yes, we can do it, and we can do it for $4 million. Well, we're not at 4. We can't do the addition. It's been a nightmare for me through three city managers. Mike, you were interim during the middle of all this. I think it was Jerry and you and then Mike. But this has been the hardest part of all of this. And when you submit a bill for payment, you submit your bill for payment. And we paid it. And it's done. So my answer, I don't care where the $93,000 comes from. My answer is we've paid over $700 and we paid enough.
Any more discussion? Mayor Pro Tem?
I think Commissioner Kuczynski makes some excellent points. However, I don't really think we have a choice. We want to move forward with the police department, so I just want to throw that out there.
Will not paying this stop the project? This is the architecture part, not the construction part.
I can't speak to the.
No, it won't stop the project.
Oh,
No, because the architecture part.
so
We're cutting off our finger despite our hand. why would we separate ourselves from our architecture firm when we're just about to build this building?
Because they're done. Their part is finished.
No, it's not.
The teacher should have said yes.
No, I said our contract goes through, our contract, can do a little explaining, because some of that is a little bit, you're accurate, but our contract goes through the NSBA, Construction Administration. So we are contractually obligated to finish the project, and as a steward and an agent to the owner, there's a big value in that provided from our firm throughout the construction process, because you are contracted directly with the contractor, we are contracted directly with you. We are an agent to the owner to ensure that the contractor is building the building per the design drawings and per the specifications that were given to them on bid day, that they all bid on. So there's a reassurance process through the CA process that we are already under contract for. It's already part of the original contract amount. The $300 and something thousand that we paid for the first time around reset, but in earnest, we didn't charge the same amount the second time, because we picked up where we left off in a lot of those cases, which was after some of those original concept designs were created. The concept design that was originally proposed, that was an addition to this building, could be done for the amount, but the problem was we were running into parking and grading challenges that would redo the site and end up costing more money for the project than what this project had ended up costing. So what we did is we went back and made a suggestion that, yes, it would incur maybe $93,000 worth of changes for us to make that change, but it probably likely saved $300,000 or $400,000 in site costs because of parking, because of drainage, because of the site that it's on now, having to accommodate the additional parking and the rework of all the entry drives and everything from the site. So in many ways, I understand the frustration. It seems like, yes, you've paid a lot of money for the services that have been done, but really we're talking about two separate projects. That initial project, part one, was canceled or was, we stopped work, the whole thing was terminated. There was no option based on finances. So we said, okay, let us know if you want to do this again. When we came back, we said, hey, we need to reduce scope, need to reduce costs. So we did that. And the only thing that we're really, what I'm asking for, or our firm is asking for in this case, is the $93,000 is the effort it took to kind of redesign a lot of the effort for this building to be an independent building with studies that actually save money in the bid process under construction. So while I understand that this is a tough subject and it's very hard to swallow, this is a very common thing to happen, and it's also contractually part of what we gave you in an agreement that also says that if the scope, the budget, and other things change, that we're entitled to ask for additional services. This money is also not the full amount that we have spent on this project. This is just for us to do the effort to get this to construction so that we can get you guys in that building, or the police, I should say, in this building, and to serve you all, and for the renovation of this building as well. And so architecture, I know, is a tough gig, because it seems like it takes forever, and there's a lot of money, and there's a lot of things that are happening, and you got a contractor working on site, and finally it looks like there's progress, and there is. But this is really, it's in good faith too, also to cover basically half of what we've put into revising a lot of this to save you all money on site costs, and on the bid day, when the bids came in at a reasonable effort for you all to construct this project. So in many ways, I know that it seems like a lot, but it's a small amount for what we're asking for the effort in which 10 to 12 folks in our firm, as well as other consultants, have put into this to give you all a really great project.
Mayor Pro Tem.
You gonna come back for any more after this?
Yeah, we're gonna go through CA in our normal contracted phase, and unless there's unforeseen conditions that happen, that is generally handled with the contractor.
Commissioner Gleason.
This is just a rock and a hard spot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
The bottom line is we are where we are, and we have to go forward, so I'm for making a budget amendment and approving it.
Commissioner Moss.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm agreeing with Commissioner, or Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioner Gleason. We are where we are. And Commissioner Kozinski, I would have to disagree with, we're done with your comment that we're done with the architects. When I happened to be here, when we built and designed and built this building, there were changes throughout. I was not on the board when the community center was designed and built. And if I recall correctly, there were changes in that project as well. We're not out of the ground on the police department. So I suspect, as hard as we might try, there will most likely be something that comes up that we're gonna have to redesign, re-architect in some way. So, as Mike said, and I agree with him too, let's not cut off our nose to spite our face. Let's, maintain a good, positive relationship with our architect and move forward.
Any more discussion?
So just, Commissioner Moss is correct, there were change orders. The change orders are with the contractor, not with the architect. But I understand what you're all saying. It's just, I've been through this for
Frustrating.
5 or 6 years, and it just doesn't stop.
No. All right. Have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve design amendment number 5 for Little Diversified Architect for an amount of $93,592, and not to exceed that amount.
All right, it's been a motion to approve design amendment number 5 for Little Diversified Architecture for the amount of $93,592 and not to exceed that amount.
93,000, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong one, I'm sorry.
You good?
You good? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Motion carries 4-1. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Frangos, too.
Thank you.
All right. Budget amendment, Mr. Lee Fames.
I think I basically explained all of the amendments so far. Just to go into, so there is one more item in this amendment. So of course, the first one being what we just discussed, the amendment to Little's agreement for $93,592. That amendment is a two-part amendment where we appropriate the general fund dollars, so we also have to appropriate the funds in the other fund so we can pay the bill. The next part of this amendment is in stormwater, where we appropriate $172,930 of stormwater fund balance for the project you all heard earlier, the Dogwood and White Mountain Drive drainage project, as well as this one is a project that has been going on already, the Lake Broad Dam assessment. I just went ahead and decided to take care of it now. The project was approved in last fiscal year, but the PO wasn't completed in last fiscal year. So it did go over, so I had to reappropriate the funds in this fiscal year. But this is a project that was already approved, the work has already been done, and may still be going on. And that project was for $92,549. And again, this is stormwater fund. Do you have any more questions?
Commissioner Moss?
Two things. So legally, because I think we've done this one, in different points. When we did the Whitehall drainage thing, we went ahead and approved, I thought we did approve part of this.
Yeah, so you will approve the actual, part for Weber, the engineer firm. So that was the part just to approve for them to proceed with their work. This part is actually approving the actual fund.
Okay, thank you. That had me confused. Thank you.
And generally, you know, you approve the funds first before you approve the contract. But being that I had many, other items within this budget amendment, that's why.
And just an editorial, we may want to consider changing Robert D. Wheeler to mayor. Okay. Yeah, I knew you would. Trying to stay in good graces of the mayor. How about that?
Thank you, sir.
Since I'm talking, I'm just gonna go ahead and make the motion to adopt this budget amendment number that we have here in front of us.
All right, Commissioner Kozinski?
So the engineering services, that is the dam review, is that what you're telling us? That was from the Lake Rogers Dam study?
Yeah, that was Arcane.
The dam?
Arcane is my consultant.
Okay, all right.
All right, it's been a motion to approve budget amendment number 4. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Lee. All right, resolution 2026-R03, resolution of intent to close the abandoned Green Street.
Yeah, so good evening again. This is a new item. None of you have heard of this one before. It's an application that came into our office late in 2025. Monica and Dylan St. Jean of 513 Lake Road, they recently purchased their property, and I'm sure through their survey noticed that I'll call it an unopened street. I'll simply call it an unopened right-of-way or paper street is the term used in the field, but there's an unopened street there called Green Street, and it is identified via plat book that it was included, map 51, page 176, which shows the right-of-way that exists. Robert, do you want to bring up the pictures? Maybe that might help. Yeah, that's the one. Go back one more slide. Okay. That's the original, or the current aerial. It's kind of hard to see. There you go, Barbara, thanks. But between the two houses there is the unopened right-of-way. It is a 60-foot wide right-of-way, but again, there's no public purpose being undertaken or utilized on that road. It's directly opposite Stem Road, but the property to the south, or to the bottom of that photograph, has several other frontages on it, so this one is not an important access. There are several other accesses. In the bottom picture, that's actually the view of what is the unopened Green Street. And what you see on it right now is that green area is a ditch or a swale that handles stormwater, and on the sides are the two private driveways, essentially, that serve both of those private single-family detached units, one on either side of the road. So since those houses were built, they've been relying on these routes for their driveways. Go to the next page down, Barb. Right, that's the historic photo. Off at the top there, I think it says 2003. Right, and that shows them both of those driveways there, so 23 years ago. A little bit further down, all of those red circles represent the other right-of-way frontages that this property has. So we are not by any means cutting off future development. There are several accessible points where this property could gain frontage, whether it be to Fleming Street, to US 15, or to another portion on Highway 56. The remnants of this property are topographically challenged. There are several deep canyons, ravines, riparian buffers, etc., and through there. So the development of the inside of that piece is going to take quite a bit of effort and investment. But at this point, I just say all that to say that if the board is interested in abandoning this right-of-way, this resolution would be the first step. You might recall from the last time we did this on Lyon Street, there now would call for notification of all adjoining property owners. There would be a newspaper ad that would run for 4 consecutive weeks, and we'd post the right-of-way at 2 different locations to alert the public. We'd schedule a public hearing at a later date, which I think is included in the resolution, that we would schedule it for that second meeting in March, where we could have enough time to advertise, et cetera, and do our requirements. March 17th is the date where we would set the public hearing on the question of street closing. So the question I received earlier is, why are we doing all these street closings? We didn't ask for it. These are things that came to us, right? This is part of our job as a municipality. We have these unopened right-of-ways, these paper streets throughout our jurisdiction that we're not using. So similar to the case on Lyon Street, this is just another instance where there is a remnant of a street right-of-way that has been reserved, but is no use to the city now, or what we can predict in the future. So if the board wants to proceed, the adoption of the resolution would allow us to begin the process. We'd go forward to the March 17th public hearing, which then would be the final decision if the board chose to close and abandon. But tonight's decision is simply the resolution of intent to go forward.
Okay.
Any questions I can answer?
Mayor Pro Tem Wilk.
I know you said we normally do this, but in this case, we did receive a petition, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just clear about that.
It was clear, right, there was an applicant, indeed, Monica and Dylan St. Jude.
Commissioner Moss.
Sir, assuming that we're going to get a motion to adopt the resolution, I'm going to go ahead and go on record in saying I'm going to oppose the resolution. And this is why. I don't know, Barbara, if you can put the map back up that you had earlier that Mike was speaking to.
The first page or?
Good. That one right there.
Okay.
So, looking at, and Mike said something that really struck me, because we can't predict the future. Street closings, I believe, are very risky because we can't predict the future. As we can probably see from these two, and I know we've got topological challenges there, as Mike pointed out, but we appear to have quite a bit of open space, got undeveloped space. I'll put it that way. And I know, and again, Mike, I agree with you 100% that we have other access to those parcels. I get that. I'm just concerned that there will be an unintended consequence that we won't be able to fix down the road, and I will leave it at that. But I am going to vote in opposition to the resolution.
Any more discussion? Commissioner Kaczynski?
So, Commissioner Moss, I agree with you 100%. It's a little piece of land, it's not hurting anybody, and with the opportunity of the future and any more improvement, because we don't know. That little strip of green looks real pretty to me now, and if we close it, we've got people that could possibly move into it and just make it look, in my opinion, we could widen driveways or park cars there, and it looks lovely, and I would like to leave it alone because we don't know if somebody else is going to come in there and develop anymore. So I am in agreement with Commissioner Moss.
All right, any more discussion?
I agree with Mr. Moss, but you don't agree that we should.
One more time.
You do agree we should close it?
We shouldn't
close it.
Oh, okay.
The motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2026-R-03, resolution of intent to close and abandon Green Street.
All right. There's been a motion to approve the resolution 2026-R-03, resolution and intent to close and abandon Green Street. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No.
No.
Motion carries 3-2.
But we still have to have a public hearing and everything. So this is not.
Yeah, just preliminary
This is not the
intent.
final.
That's why I didn't have a problem.
Thank you, Mr. Marsh. Oh, man, I'm lost. All right, moving to the discussion items. Discussion of final water filter survey. Mayor Pro Tem Wilkins.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I know some of the board at the last meeting wanted some further discussion, but I am good with the way it is presented, the package that Kevin reviewed, so you can go ahead and open it up if the board members have anything they want to discuss.
All right, it's open for discussion. Any discussion?
What are we talking about? 11D?
11A.
11A.
Final water survey.
Okay, so if I might, I need a question answered. When the survey is done and all of them come in, what is the next step? That's what I don't understand. What is the next step once the water quality surveys, once the surveys are done? Are we planning on attaching that to the letter that's going to Sigwasa? Is that what the intent is for the survey?
I'm not sure I understand your question, I'm sorry.
The survey.
Okay,
Once the surveys come back, are you going to send these surveys with the letter to Seguasa? That's my question.
I got you. I think it's important to understand that as commissioners or even Seguasa board members, our job is not to prejudge funding or what the next step may be, but to ensure governance and protect the public image. The role of our board would be to conduct a thorough examination of our results, the potential impact of the budget, identify viable funding options, and assess fiscal impacts once we determine the quantity of filters that are requested.
Okay, so the reason I asked that question is if you're going to send the results of this to Seguasa, I reached out to the executive director and asked him if there was enough information on these surveys for Seguasa to review and weigh in on it. And what he sent me was there are 5 pieces of information they must have, or they can't even address anything that comes in on. I mean, because we're asking about the water problems, and we've got they need, for them to do a good evaluation of the surveys, they would need the name of the customer, the address of the customer, the account number of the customer, so that they could match it to a customer and possibly address any issues that are on these surveys. So I just wanted to let you know that, because if that's what our intent is, it would be a waste of time to send it on to Seguasa and have them send it back and say, we can't do anything, we don't have enough information. So as vice chair for Seguasa, I thought, let's find out what do they need if that was your next step is. So that's what I asked. And the other question I had for you was, when we talked about these, you had said that they would give them 90 days to respond. So could we have a date put on these to say, please respond by, and put that date on there? I just don't want to drag this out. If we're waiting for an answer, we can figure out what 90 days is from the day it gets sent out. So that's what I'm saying.
I'm fine with the date.
And like I said, where it says, what is your name, and it says optional, Scott said we need to have a name.
So that's an adjustment we can make, not make it optional, okay?
Okay, so that's, do we know what the last question is, what is the annual income of your household? That's kind of a personal question, I feel. So what I was wondering is, if we know the range for low to middle income, we could just word this differently that would say, is your income between here and here? And it would be a yes or no answer, and they wouldn't have to tell us anything.
No, I don't want to pigeonhole it to that. I want to leave it open-ended.
All right, because if the surveys come back missing information,
we'll deal with it.
We won't be able to do anything with the survey.
We'll deal with it.
And I don't want to waste anybody's time. Okay? Those are my thoughts.
You got it. Thank you. So, at that point, I'd like to make a motion. We go ahead and prepare the survey and send it out unless there's more discussion.
All right. It is Commissioner Gleason.
Yeah, my question's kind of similar. I was gonna say, are you a Seguasa customer? Check here. And you could put account number. The other thing is the verbiage about...
Hello, that's good. Yeah, let's add the account number.
When that you have to answer all the questions on this survey, and that this survey must be returned to the city of Creedmoor at this address by such and such a date. It can be dropped off or mailed.
I'm good with that.
And that should be added to the...
I agree. Madam Clerk, you good with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you both for your input.
Commissioner White? That was it.
Hammered it all out.
Yes.
Commissioner Ross?
Yes, sir. Just going back to the household income section, just for a moment, I was wondering, and I'm thinking out loud here, don't hold me to this, but I was wondering if maybe we could take a peek at the census document that we all get, and, it has that breakdown, and then that way, maybe we could use that just as a template.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know what low to middle income is these days. I
Yeah,
just
good
don't-
point.
That would
I
be
thought
me.
maybe Kevin would have a legal answer for that. Kevin, you really needed to be here tonight. We need a lot of.
Well, he had unusual circumstances.
All right.
Thank you.
So, is there any more discussion? Has there been a motion? Oh, it's no motion required?
Yeah, we already voted on it last meeting.
Okay.
We're good.
So, we're good.
Thank you. Thank you all.
That's all right.
You got our changes. You good?
Yes, you got it.
Good, Madam Clerk.
We all got the same.
Let's see. Stay here writing too.
Sarah's fine. One, two.
Yeah.
You want to see it one more time before they're mailed out?
No.
I'm good. Just, if you could just copy me before you mail them out. Or copy the board, I should say.
All right, moving along to the consent agenda that was moved, 11B, the Duke Energy Interconnectional Agreement.
All right. And I'm sorry, I have solar panels, so that's why I have these questions. Because God knows I found out the hard way, and I don't want us to find out. So, Mr. Bartley. Question for you, because your name's all over this thing, so I'm gonna ask you.
It's not on the revised one.
Whose name's on the revised one? Okay, so whoever the point of contact is for this, I don't know if somebody's gonna sit on their email 24/7, but there's a place for a phone number, and I think we should add a phone number. If it's Carl's numbers, if it's Troy's phone number. Has the electrical inspection been completed on the panels yet? Or that won't be done till after this goes in?
I'm not sure that's been done yet, but I know once this is signed, that's when the finalization happens on everybody's part. The solar, the county inspector, and then Duke has to install a
Meter. Somebody, since your name's all over this, when there's a power outage, you have got to disconnect the solar panels. If you don't disconnect the solar panels and your generator kicks in, you will blow the whole system. So somebody needs to get with NC Solar before they leave this property, finally, and find out, how do you disconnect the solar panels so that the emergency generator can come on?
There's an automatic transfer switch that separates the generator from Duke and solar. Duke and solar on one side of it, the generator is on the other side. Because we asked the question, if it's power outage, can we use solar and the generator? And the answer is no. The line is between generators here, and the solar is like part of Duke's generation system now. So
I just want to make sure that question was asked because we almost found out the hard way.
Is your house?
My house is solar, and nobody told us you have to disconnect the panels before you flip the generator. So that was a major concern of mine because I know that our generator automatically kicks in, so we have to make sure that doesn't happen.
Okay, they won't have to go this setup, but.
Okay, all right. Okay, that was my concern. I don't want to blow the solar panels as soon as they're done. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Any more discussion? All right,
For
yes, ma'am.
acknowledging that for me.
No problem.
It was removed from the consent agenda.
Let's see. I didn't see that. Hold on.
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
All right, yeah.
So moved.
All right, so it's been a motion that the Duke Interconnection Agreement be
Voted on.
All approve?
Yes.
All those in favor, I mean?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Check us up.
I'm sorry.
Which one are we saying? Yes or aye? What do you want? Which one do you want?
Yeah, my words are getting, they're going together. All right. You good? You good, Madam Clerk?
Yes.
All right. All right. City Manager's report. Chief Willis.
I'm gonna get him a hat that says city manager and you can switch them out.
Are we gonna do the item that we're using for this?
No, we're not.
Not doing that at all.
Make sure I keep Mayor, Pro Tem Commissioners, this is the city manager's report for February, or for January. A reminder that Saturday, February 7th, 2026, the DOC will hold the annual strategic planning session. A draft of the agenda was provided in your January 6th agenda packet and has been approved by the mayor. Over the past 2 weeks, we've had significant weather events that have affected operations. Thank you to Public Works Director Steve Edwards and his team for their work in cleaning the streets. Also thank you to Barbara and Sarah for their work over the weekend, with declarations and helping communicate closures and delays to our citizens. City staff has also used our new implemented emergency operations plan during our recent weather events. The plan has designed, provided the proper guidance and proper examples, templates for us to follow and use during the state of emergency. The city clerk has done hard work on the city's spring newsletter that will be distributed to citizens on March 5th. Today, several members from the police department and I, myself, attended the funeral of Ms. Sherry Carroll, who served many years as an administrative assistant to the police department. Last night, we received word that Danny Judy passed away. Danny served many years at the police department in various functions and was very well respected among his peers. We keep both the Harrell family and Judy family in our thoughts and prayers through this. And Mr. Mayor, that concludes my comments.
Any questions for the city manager? Thank you, Chief. All right, department heads, Seguasa report. Commissioner White?
The latest information I believe I presented at our last meeting was the water filter media has started, and we're in the process now of starting on other filter basins. The first one is online. We're trying to make sure everything is kosher and good and working quite well with that one. Water meter replacements are in progress in the city of Creedmoor. We also approved directional water flushing through the pipes. It's a pilot program that's going to take place in the Golden Pond community. This involves shutting down certain water lines and making the water pressure flow one direction through the piping in order to try to flush any hard deposits out of the piping. This has never been done in Seguasa history, probably in city of Creedmoor history. And one of the concerns that I brought up at our meeting was, did we have proper surplus of piping and patch kits and things available for when we begin this process, because unfortunately we might come to grips with some pipes that are going to bust and have water main leaks. I was told that we do, and that they would double check. However, with this cold snap that we've recently had, the mayor has left. Butler has had a significant number of water main breaks. If you are not signed up with Seguasa's text messages and emails, they will send you one and let you know whenever there's a water main break or their hours are changing or something's going on. So go to the website and please sign up. I can't begin to thank the workers that are out in the field with Seguasa for the cold that we've had the last few weeks and the number of water main breaks that they've had to tend to in the cold ground, mud, and weather. So, any questions? I do not have an executive director's report to forward out because I have not received one.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner White. Commissioner reports. Commissioner Gleason?
The only thing I have, I went to a COG meeting on Thursday evening. I want to thank the police, DPW, the EMS service during the storms. There were PD on the streets at 3 o'clock in the morning in the middle of the snowstorm patrolling, so I want to thank them. Another question that I want to raise, because Commissioner Moss raised it in an email about what do we do with people if we have a major power failure, ice storm that turned power off everywhere. We had a storm like that when Mayor Moss was, mayor. Commissioner Moss was mayor. And I did get in touch with him and I said, what do we do? And he said, well, the emergency response plan is handled by the county. Reach out to the county, which I did. I got no response from the county that they had nothing. What I want to bring to our attention is, I don't know how much we paid for the emergency response plan that we had created for the city. It's a pretty good-sized document. If you look on page 100 to 104, you'll see what the emergency response is for a snowstorm, ice outage, and it's basically similar to what the mayor said at that time. We reach out to the county and to the Red Cross to see how many places they have. I know they have none. What I'm getting at is we paid a lot of money for this emergency response plan. And when it first was being drawn up and when it first came out, I said, this is a template. Doesn't really give you any information. It tells you we should have an emergency coordinator in the city and we should have response plans that we know that we can't use certain buildings in the city because they have truss roofs and certain other things. Our biggest problem in Granville County is we don't have a facility large enough that has generated power, that if we have a widespread power outage and we need to take people somewhere where there's a church, this last ice storm, you saw that there was a church in in Oxford, that became a warming center. A warming center is good in the church, but if the church has no electricity, it's no good. So again, maybe we should be working on a plan with the county to say, where can we create a facility that's able to hold? I mean, we only have 6,000 residents and only 6,000. You know what it holds to hold 6,000 people? So again, we needed, I guess what we need to do is take a look back at this emergency response plan and look at what it says to do, but we should have done it, and there should be an addition to the emergency response plan.
Exactly right.
This is who you call, this is who you reach out to. So we should maybe, not during this next Saturday meeting, but in the spring, look at this stuff and kind of fill in a lot of the blanks that are in that. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thanks, Commissioner Gleason. That's really important. Commissioner Moss?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, just piggybacking on what Commissioner Gleason said, that emergency response plan. And again, things have changed dramatically, and I think that was Commissioner, I think that was Mayor Downey's email that you were referring to, about that piece of the concern.
Oh, okay.
That's okay. But back in the day, Granville County actually did have an emergency shelter. It was at Mount Energy Elementary back in the day. We had one here in Creedmoor. It was at the gym. John, you may remember, I don't know, but it was at the gym, and then they declared because of the weight load on the roof that we could no longer use that. So at any rate, but I do agree 100% that we need a better plan, because we know that there are people in need that we can most likely help. I did remember the Campo meeting that I mentioned, not Campo meeting, but the meeting with NCDOT, Commissioner Commissioner May. It all kind of runs together.
That's okay, we get confused.
Yeah, y'all look alike. But at any rate, in NCDOT, I think there may be some Campo meeting or Campo people there as well, along with Commissioner Kaczynski and myself. That meeting, just in case you're interested, is on, what did I just say, February 24th, so Tuesday at 11:30 at the Expo Center. All right, so I just wanted to get that out. And this is my last thing. This is informational, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, I am presenting the board with a proposed ordinance that will be entitled, and this is just for information only, it will be entitled the Law Enforcement Transparency Ordinance for consideration that I'd like placed on the February 17th meeting agenda. I have forwarded a copy of it to the clerk for distribution in the agenda packet, and I will read you just a short section of the proposed ordinance language. And again, this is an ordinance ensuring law enforcement transparency and prohibiting unidentified masked agents on city property. Whereas the city of Creedmoor is committed to the safety, civil liberties, and trust of its residents, and whereas the use of face coverings by law enforcement agents can obscure identity, reduce accountability, and cause unnecessary alarm within the community. And whereas North Carolina General Statute 14-12.8 generally prohibits the wearing of masks on public property to conceal identity, and whereas the Board of Commissioners finds it necessary to ensure that any individual exercising police powers on city-owned property is clearly identifiable as a legitimate law enforcement officer. Now, you might ask, why is this a concern for Creedmoor? My response tonight, and whenever we talk about this further on the 17th, will be to invite you to take a look at the oath of office that we all took that allows us to sit on this dais. And this is mine. This is what I said. This is what I affirmed on December 2nd, 2025. I, Darrell Moss, do solemnly swear that I will support and maintain the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of North Carolina, not inconsistent therewith, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of my office as a member of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Creedmoor according to the best of my skill and ability, so help me God. And I had my hand on the Bible while I was saying that. Now, the bottom line for me is that right here in Creedmoor, we are the front lines of the fight for our democratic republic. And I tend to think that our citizens, Creedmoor citizens, want to know that we are standing up for all of us. There are many opinions that I don't agree with. Some I've heard here tonight, but know this: I will defend your ability to have free speech and to peacefully protest. Paraphrasing Mayor Downey, I want to be the change I want to see. I would encourage you to have your own review done to see if this proposed ordinance passes legal muster. I think you will find that it does, but there are some practical implications that will need to be considered. Two things that come to mind immediately are, will this order bring ICE attention to our community? What we are seeing happening is ICE anchors in large cities, then fans out to areas outside the city. So we are definitely within striking range of Raleigh or Durham or somewhere like that. And are we putting the Creedmoor Police Department, my second issue is, are we putting the Creedmoor Police Department in between citizens and ICE? I would argue that what we cannot do is put the police department in a position where they are being asked to participate in, coordinate with, or intervene in any federal enforcement activity involving ICE or Customs and Border Patrol. But notwithstanding these questions, and probably others that I'm sure you'll come back with, are we willing to protect our citizens' First Amendment rights? The First Amendment of the United States Constitution guarantees freedoms concerning religion, expression, assembly, and petition stating Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. Now, I can only speak for me and not for others on this board, but in spite of the challenges and in spite of the risk, I will uphold the oath that I took with my hand on the Bible to protect the Constitution of the United States of America. And to close this out, I want you to know that this is not an original thought coming from me. STEM Commissioner Susan Cope presented this to her board last Wednesday night. And for the record, her effort was not successful. But I, for one, greatly admire her foresight, her leadership, and finally, her courage to put this forward. And quite frankly, it is inspirational. Because what I think Commissioner Cope was seeking to accomplish for her community was to preempt a systematic assault on their constitutional rights, and I completely agree. So, Mr. Mayor, I thank you for this time, and if there are questions, I'll try to answer them. But again, I would like to ask that this be placed on the February 17th agenda. Thank you, sir.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
You say that this, you talked about face coverings. That was in state law? You can't?
Yes, sir.
And didn't the police officer tonight swear to uphold the state of North Carolina laws, United States Constitution? So they already swear to that.
I'm not talking about Creedmoor Police, sir.
Oh.
I'm talking about ICE agents, Customs and Border Patrol.
Oh, well, that's fine.
That's what I'm talking about, sir.
All right. So you'll just get with him and just put it on?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Way?
I don't have anything further. I've taken an oath of office on the Holy Bible, as a commissioner, as a law enforcement officer, and I can only speak for Robert Wade. I can tell you that when you put a badge on your chest and you swear your oath of office, you're swearing your oath to the same fundamentals that was read here tonight. And that includes federal law enforcement officers. So if our federal law enforcement officers, supervisory staff, is not holding them to the same oath of office that we have all taken, then that's where our problem lies. The other issues that are out there in the world right now, it's a hot topic. It's, to say the least, there are things that the media portrays, and there's things that are going on in the country and the world that you can sit back and you can Monday morning quarterback with it, and you don't know. I mean, there's things today that I have comments on. Civilians holding traffic checkpoints in neighborhoods. But local law enforcement's not moving in to assess that situation because they're afraid of the tensions that are now being perceived to local law enforcement officers. I understand where Mayor Moss is coming from, and I'll have to divulge and look a little bit more into what he's presented tonight. But the last thing that I would ever want to do is put that man sitting across from me right now in a situation where he has to make a decision. Does he back up law enforcement officers or not? Because even though they're Customs and Border Patrol and Immigration Enforcement officers, they're law enforcement officers, and if they ask for assistance, he is required by law to assist them. And that's the situation that we're in. Because if we start putting doubt in the minds of our local law enforcement officers that we're going to hold them to a different standard than what they swore on the Bible that we swore to, that's where we run into problems. And if you'll notice, I don't comment on stuff like this. I don't do social media with posts about the way the tensions are in the world, because everybody, as Commissioner Moss said, everybody's entitled to their First Amendment. And I respect it. I might not agree with it, but I will always respect what everybody has to say. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Commissioner Roy. Commissioner Kaczynski?
Doing commissioners reports, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I attended a Campbell meeting, Commissioner Moss, went to a UNRBA meeting, did a lot of work with the DOT on some roads that I was getting complaints about personally, and attended the Wasser meeting. And Mr. Mayor, you and I have a litter meeting on Thursday morning.
I'm right there right now.
Yeah, trying to get the litter cleaned up in Creedmoor, and there's a movement, and we're working really hard. to get everything cleaned up. And I think we're all on the right track. We just need more sponsors and more volunteers. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Wilkins?
I have no report this evening.
All right.
Mayor Bowden, can I make a comment?
Not right now, sir.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, Commissioner Gleason?
Commissioner Kuczynski. I was appointed by the mayor to be on this litter committee. The last litter committee meeting I went to, there were 3 commissioners and the mayor, which is not really a legit idea when we're talking about policy, but the bottom line is, as long as you and the mayor are going, I'm very fine with that.
All right.
It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it.
All right. This is my report. All right, I had the privilege of presiding over the Martin Luther King extravaganza that was held at First Baptist Church in Oxford. I represented Creedmoor at that meeting by presiding over the meeting. Presiding over the program. Amazing program. They were giving away scholarships to youth. They had youth interacting in the program at all different levels. The Pastor Keith, was from out of Durham, North Carolina, and he brought the message of we need to shift. Let's see, moving on. I'm going to be going to Mount Energy, Butner STEM, and Granville Central Middle in the next couple of weeks to help kick off the Read Across America. That is something that I hold very, very dear to my heart. I still work at FBC teaching 4- and 5-year-olds every day, and I got to figure out what kind of Dr. Seuss outfit I'm going to get this year. Last year I was a cat in the hat, so I got to figure out what outfit I'm going to get this year. And I've chosen to read the kindergartners because that's where the love stands. I mean, they're just so full of life, and they do more for me than I do for them. I really want to talk about these town hall meetings that are going to be coming up in March. I kind of want to get that going, get direction that we're going with these town hall meetings. No agenda really, but just kind of still want to have a direction of unity and what's going to make Creedmoor better. How can we make Creedmoor better as residents of Creedmoor? And I think I would like to see neighborly love, like this neighbor has this skill, this neighbor has this skill. Why don't we get together and let's become unified? You fix my back porch, I fix your water, and we'll keep it moving. So that's kind of along the lines of where I want to go. And me and Commissioner Kuczynski had talked about, I want to get this playground going. I've researched a little bit on playground equipment, just to see the cost of playground equipment. But I mean, I know as of a couple of months ago, I'm tired of driving to Wake Forest. I'm tired of driving to Raleigh for a playground for my 4-year-old to go to that will sustain his little mind for more than 10 minutes. I thank God for the Lake Rogers park down there. I thank God for the different little parks around here, but I want to get something substantial. So me and Commissioner Kuczynski had talked about maybe a fundraiser, maybe a silent auction, just any ideas. And if you all have any ideas, just let us know. Yeah, we do have a county litter meeting on Thursday. Me and Lee are meeting with the executive director of First National Bank on Friday. We're going to sit down and talk to him. He asked for us to be able to meet with him, so me and Lee are going to sit down with him on Friday. And I think that concludes my report. All right, I would be more than happy to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's been a motion to adjourn this meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. All right. No, we don't have no closed session tonight.